All right, so typical changeup grip. This is the second time doing this, but it's fine because it's important. Typical changeup grip. You got these two fingers, middle and ring, on the train tracks. For a two-seam changeup, you got the circle. So whether you connect the circle or whether your hands are just laying here, whatever, this finger's just along for the ride. The difference with the kick change is this finger gets knuckled. So the middle finger now gets knuckled up a little bit. And then when you throw the ball, you're trying to push it out with that middle finger at the end. And what that does is it lowers your spin rate and it also kicks the axis. So my normal changeup, I had a decent changeup, shape-wise at least, I would snap it off this middle finger and I want the spin to be just like this. And then that way it kind of comes out this way, and then the seam shift effect forces it down and away. But what the kick change does is it kicks the seam a little bit further than I just had. And so mine would say 3 o'clock on the observed spin. But this would, like if I was doing a kick change, like when I was getting them on the TrackMan, it was saying it was more like 3:30 or 3:45, which is kind of hard to explain if you don't know TrackMan data. But it just means that the axis is kicked more in a way that it's going to create more drops. So that's why the kick change is so impressive. And also it allows guys who have like high slots, who in the past could never get below 0 in terms of induced vertical break, to get there. And so now they're creating much bigger separations between really well backspinning four-seamers and these kick changes than they ever had before. So it creates kind of like a deadly combination. All right, yeah, of course. I love that stuff. At first, I tried to throw it a little bit, and the grip felt incredibly uncomfortable to me. But then eventually that kind of helped out. So it was I think the story that I've heard, at least, is it was invented by a pitching trainer, I think at Tread Athletics. But the first pitcher I saw throwing it was Hayden Birdsong, who's on the Giants. This dude, no, he might have got sent down or got hurt. But he's interesting because he's 6'4" with a pretty high release, 48-degree arm angle, and yet he was able to get his changeup induced vertical break really low. So he was like one of the first proof of concepts and like why a guy would do it. See here, his changeup was this year averaged 0 vertical break, so 0.0, and his fastball is at 18.1. In the past, that would have never been a thing. This is Mr. Hayden Birdsong that I'm showing you real quick. All right, this dude. So as you can see, 6'4", 216. He throws from a 48-degree arm angle, so it's pretty high. But then you go down, and this is like what caught everybody's attention, all the analysts' attention. Like, wait, how's he doing this? And then you go closer look, and sure enough, he was throwing the kick change. So here's what it is. This one that I'm highlighting is changeup vertical break 0.0. 11.9 horizontal. That's negligible. We don't even know if that matters. But then the next one I'm highlighting up top is his four seam, 18.1. So it's a huge 18 inches of induced vertical break separation between those two pitches, which just wasn't possible before the kick change for guys that had that type of backspin and like higher angles. So it's probably the last pitch to really be invented. I don't think we're going to invent any new pitches. Everything will just be a kind of like a hybrid, like a cross-pollination of like two different pitch types. But I think pitch types on their own are they're kind of done. I don't think we can create too much more. We kind of have figured out how to make movement in every plane. So